Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
We're going to continue talking about laptop insurance. Remember last time we were listening to a conversation between Winnie and Bobby. Bobby had gone into Ernie's Electronics, and the salesperson there, Winnie, greeted him and gave him a good price on a new laptop computer. But she also wanted to get him interested in an insurance policy for his new laptop. It's only going to cost him $500 NT per month, but he can get a 10% discount if he commits to 1 year of insurance.
Right. I think $500 NT a month is a lot. All these premiums and policies, they add up if they're monthly. There was a discount if he bought the insurance up front, meaning he paid for the whole year, the first month. But I don't know. If you're outside a lot with your laptop, I think it's probably smart to get some insurance. Or if you bought a better type or better quality laptop than I usually do. For example, if you have a Mac, those are really expensive. You might want to buy some laptop insurance. But if you're, like me and you buy the cheap ones, I don't know if it's worth it. We're going to continue talking about this topic, though, in day 2. And this time we're just going to read through the article, and then we'll be back to talk about some of these words and phrases.
Are you a little clumsy with your computer? Perhaps you have a tendency to lose your digital devices. If either of these is true, here's a suggestion for you: laptop insurance. It may seem troublesome and a waste of money, but it can save you a substantial amount of cash if something goes wrong. You can purchase legitimate laptop insurance when you are buying a new laptop or computer. Each policy is different, but most of them usually cover numerous issues. Many will cover theft, as this is a common fear that buyers have. Most insurance policies will also cover repairs for accidental damage. This includes things like spilling a drink on the laptop, replacing a missing key on the keyboard, or fixing components that have failed. The company issuing the policy isn't obligated to fix every problem, though. Policies seldom insure against situations like the installation of harmful programs that will infect the device with a virus or damage that is caused due to neglect or improper use. In Taiwan, laptop insurance typically ranges from $400 NT to $800 NT per month, depending on what it covers. You should carefully read the fine print of the contract to see what the policy includes. In addition, consider the cost of the insurance policy relative to the amount you paid for the laptop to determine if the insurance plan is worth it.
Okay, guys, let's get started. Is laptop insurance right for you? So are you a little clumsy with your computer? If you're clumsy, you're not very elegant with your movements. Maybe you trip sometimes, or you end up hitting things accidentally that end up breaking. You don't want to be clumsy with your computer because computers are kind of sensitive. They're very delicate. They can be damaged. I have dropped my computer before, but not from a big height. So it was on my desk and it kind of fell off. I have a tendency to be rough on computers, kind of like my dad, I have to admit. I'm not very careful with it. And so if you're kind of like that, if you know that about you, that you're clumsy or you're not very careful, you might think about it. It might be worth an investment in this insurance for you.
Indeed, and I guess I did have a laptop computer in the past. It was like a mini laptop that were popular right before smartphones came out.
Wow, yeah.
And I had one, but it was very fragile, and it seemed to fall apart rather easily. It was not really because I was clumsy. I think it was because the computer itself was kind of shoddy and cheap. But you get what you pay for, as they say. And yes, indeed, you may have a tendency to lose your digital digital devices. A tendency means the habit. You have the habit of doing this. If you have a tendency to do something, this often happens, or you do this often. Like me, I have a tendency to lose things, like my keys, or my wallet, or my medications. Gee, what did I do with my keys? I can't find them, and I've got to leave the house in 5 minutes, and I'll be late if I can't find them. Where the heck did I put them?
I hate that.
Indeed. Some people may have a tendency to lose their digital devices, like their smartphone or their laptop computer. Sometimes you just don't remember where you put the darn thing.
Yeah, I've lost my phone twice in cabs, and very, very kind people returned my phone. So I love Taiwan. Thank you for doing that for me. Now, if you have a tendency, like Tom said, to do something, you're likely to do it, or you're likely to become a certain thing. For example, I could say, I have a tendency to eat too many chips and salsa that are not good for me. So it's something that you're likely to do. It's something that you tend to do because of your personality or the situation. So some people just have a tendency to lose their digital devices. So if you're like that, if you're not very careful, or if we call it scatterbrained, where you're just not thinking clearly, or maybe you're too busy and you just don't have enough brain power to keep track of all of your digital devices. Maybe getting insurance would be good for you. So if either of these two things are true, if you're clumsy or if you have the tendency to lose your digital devices, hey, maybe you should get some laptop insurance.
Right, it may seem troublesome and a waste of money, but it can save you a substantial amount of cash if something goes wrong.
True.
I suppose this could apply to all sorts of things. Maybe you would like to buy insurance for your scooter or for your car or whatever. Yes, indeed, it may seem troublesome because most of the time nothing really happens and you're just spending the money and you never get it back. But, sometimes people like that feeling of security, of knowing that, well, if something does happen, I'll be able to be compensated for my loss. If somebody steals my scooter, for example, my insurance company will help me buy a new one. But you may still think it's kind of mafan, kind of troublesome. Trouble is the noun, and you can make it an adjective by adding some at the end of it. Troublesome. So indeed, it may seem a hassle to buy insurance. It may seem like a waste of money, especially if you have a tight budget. But still, if you plan for the future, it might be a wise investment.
You could also substitute troublesome with annoying or irritating, things that just kind of make life a little bit more difficult. Sometimes life is hard enough. You don't want to have more trouble occur in your life. Oh, it's so troublesome. He's so troublesome. I have a tendency to use irritating, annoying more than troublesome. But troublesome is a word you should learn. It's a good one. And it can also be a waste of money to buy insurance of some type. So you have to think about it. Weigh the pros and the cons. That's what I say. If what you're insuring is kind of cheap and is not a very good quality, I don't think it's probably worth it. But if you have something that's quite valuable, you want to think about insuring it, making sure that you're covered in case of some accident.
Okay, let's move on now to the next paragraph here. It says, you can purchase legitimate laptop insurance when you are buying a new laptop or computer. Now, sometimes when we make purchases, we're not really sure if it's the real thing or if we're being cheated by somebody.
Like LV bags.
Indeed. And so if something's legitimate, it's the real thing. Indeed, if something does happen to your laptop computer, you will be compensated by a real insurance company, so watch out. But in this particular case, if you buy a new laptop computer from a dealer that is respected and has a good reputation, well, then you can rest assured that the insurance will be legitimate. It will be the real thing.
You can also think of legitimate here as something that's legal. The law allows it. So it's insurance that would be recognized by the law. Some people out there are pulling scams on people, so be very careful. I feel like the number of scams these days is just skyrocketing. It's just going up. It's so easy to fool people, especially through your email or text messages you receive. Be careful. Make sure they're legitimate. So yeah, if you get real laptop insurance when you're buying a new computer, it can actually help you. Now, make sure you know that each policy is different, but most of them usually cover numerous issues. Issues here just means that some sort of problem that someone's having. What kind of issue are you up against, or what kind of problem are you facing? Many will cover theft. So the coverage will include your laptop being stolen, as this is a common fear that buyers have. I never thought about theft at all. I just thought about me breaking my own computer. That's what usually happens with me. So some or many here will cover theft. A lot of people are fearful of that. Most insurance policies will also cover repairs for accidental damage, things that happened as an accident. This includes things like spilling a drink on the laptop, replacing a missing key on the keyboard. That's happened to me too. Or fixing components or parts of something that have failed. A component is a word we use, and we use it a lot with digital devices, electronics. A component is just one of several parts that makes up something. So you could also use it for more of a figurative way of speaking. You could say one component of good health is exercise. One component of good health is sleeping enough each night. But yeah, a lot of these will cover things like accidental damage.
Right. This reminds me of when I bought my first stereo way back in high school. I bought a stereo with components. It had a receiver, an amplifier, and a turntable, and a cassette deck, and a CD player, and speakers, and things like that. Those are all components of a stereo system. And yes, there are components to a laptop computer, the hard drive, the RAM, etc., etc. And this thing about replacing a missing key on the keyboard, though, sounds kind of suspicious, because I think one time I was missing a key on my keyboard, and I thought, oh, they must have them in stock, these little keyboard, buttons, the letter Z or something.
Yeah.
And I went down there and they said, oh, no, we don't have that. You're going to have to buy a whole new keyboard, and it's going to cost you this much money. And I thought, you're kidding me, right?
Yeah.
It's just a little piece of plastic, and you're telling me I have to buy a whole new keyboard. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've had a missing key, but they had a replacement for me. Sorry for you, Tom. One of the things here in the article that's very important that I have experienced myself is the company issuing the policy or giving you the insurance isn't obligated to fix every problem, though. If you're obligated to do something, you feel like it's your duty. Maybe you're obligated by the law to do something. Maybe you're obligated to help your friend, because that's what friends do. They help their friends. But here it says that they'll fix accidental damage. When I told the repair company, I went back to my computer company where I bought the computer, and I said, I spilled my pop on the keyboard, and now the motherboard is gone. They said, yeah, we're not gonna cover that with your warranty, with your insurance. That was your fault, and it was stupid.
That's because you are clumsy yourself. Yeah, we'll cover it if the computer itself has a problem due to our manufacturer or our maintenance or whatever. But yeah, if you do something stupid like pouring soda on your computer or knocking it off the table or something like that, yeah, that's just you not being careful, and the company may not cover you in that kind of situation.
They won't be careful,
Yeah, they won't be obligated to fix every problem, which means they won't be required to do that. They'll just say, sorry, we can't help you. We'll help you with other things, but just not that. Now, policies seldom insure against situations like the installation of harmful programs that will infect the device with a virus or damage that is caused due to neglect or improper use. So sometimes, of course, you need to take your own chances if you download some kind of program from the internet, it's very possible that that program will be infected with a virus or there will be ransomware in that program.
Ooh.
And the insurance company is going to say, well, you need to be careful about those things. We're not going to be like mommy and daddy holding your hand out there when you download programs. You need to know what you're doing because we can't cover you if you happen to download some ransomware.
Or if you're like a lot of people out there who are downloading torrents, and those out there who know what torrents is, you know what I'm talking about. You're downloading movies or things to watch on your computer. Those are full of viruses. So if you have one of those programs on your computer, you're likely just inviting viruses to come into your computer and damage things. Now, if you're installing these harmful programs, it says that causes damage, that is caused due to neglect or improper use, you're not going to have insurance companies who will cover that damage. Neglect here is a noun. You can use it as a verb or an adjective too. Oh, I neglected to do something, or my neglected houseplants are now dying in my apartment. To neglect to do something just means you fail to look after something properly. It could be a thing or a person. Sometimes kids are damaged due to parents' neglect. The parents aren't taking care of them properly.
Or the house is now not worth anything due to neglect. People did not maintain it. They didn't pull out the weeds and paint it regularly and stuff like that. So yes, indeed, due to neglect, your house may crumble and you won't be able to sell it for a decent price. And yes, indeed, they will not cover this computer problem if it's due to neglect. Your own neglect. You did not take proper care of your computer. You left it out in the rain, for example. You pushed it or you set it under the wheels of a bus, for example.
Not a good thing.
Yeah, that's a dumb thing to do. So that's just, you're not being careful. You're being irresponsible.
Right.
Now, in Taiwan, the next paragraph says, laptop insurance typically ranges from 400 to 800 NT dollars per month, depending on what it covers. So there you go. It depends on what it will pay for you, what it will pay you if you have certain problems. You need to probably talk to different insurance companies to see what their policies offer. Some may cover lots of things, and some may not cover very much. So you need to be a smart shopper there in order to find the best bargain.
Yeah, some of these insurance policies are a ripoff, meaning you're paying quite a bit a month, but you're not getting much coverage. So make sure if you don't read Chinese or English very well, whatever language your policy is in, bring a friend along who can read it for you and help you out. I think this last piece of advice is really good. It says, in addition, consider the cost of the insurance policy relative to the amount you paid for the laptop. Like I said earlier, if you're buying something really cheap and inexpensive, don't pay a lot for insurance. It's not worth it. But if you're buying something really expensive that has terrific quality that you expect to last 3 or 4 years, you might want to look into getting some laptop insurance in that case. Right now, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher, guys, and then we'll be back to talk about these discussion questions.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师，今天讲解的是 Unit 3. Is laptop insurance right for you? 好，今天这一课呢是第2天的课程。昨天的对话里面提到了帮新电脑多加保固的概念。那今天的课程是一篇文章，文章告诉我们到底像这种额外购买的保固有哪些保障，又有哪一些因素会导致就算电脑出问题了也得不到任何补偿。Without further ado, 我们一起看看今日课程内容的学习重点吧。好，请同学看到第一段，先用问句开头。这个也是同学如果写作的时候可以考虑的文章开启的方法。那一开始呢，就先问读者一个问题，那看看读者有没有相关的经验，类似的经验。Are you a little clumsy with your computer? 好，意思是什么？你在用电脑的时候啊，是不是会有时候这样笨手笨脚的，不小心把电脑摔在地上？ Perhaps you have a tendency to lose your digital devices. 好，那这里呢就不是问句，而是一种猜测了。搞不好啊，你很容易把自己的电子产品这些数位化的产品呢弄丢 ，have a tendency to， 那就是常常会有这样子的可能性，这样的倾向。If either of these is true， 好，请同学把 either of these 这个 either 或者有的人念 either 都可以，请你把它画起来。记得这边是代名词哦，前面说了两个情况嘛，一个就是有些人呢，他呢不太能够保护好自己的电子装置，总是会这里去碰到或者那里去摔到。另外可能性呢，就是会弄丢。好，那以上这两种情况，如果其中任何一种是事实 ，if either of these is true, if either of these is true.Here's a suggestion for you. 在这里呢，就有一个建议 ，laptop insurance. 那基本上就是延长保固。It may seem troublesome and a waste of money, but it can save you a substantial amount of cash if something goes wrong. 那虽然这个看起来好像会有点麻烦，你会觉得说，那我干嘛多付钱？不过，万一 if something goes wrong， 万一真的出事了。其实你可以省下一大笔钱呢。You can purchase legitimate laptop insurance when you are buying a new laptop or computer. 好，所以这里讲到 legitimate laptop insurance， 所以重点不要随随便便买个什么保固方案，要找的呢是可以信赖的这些公司商家，它呢是 legitimate， 一切都是合法的。Each policy is different.请同学特别注意，这里的 policy 和大家平常习惯的政策，或者说一些公司的这种做法规定是不一样的。这个 policy 所指的呢是保单，要记住在保险的前后文脉络底下 policy 所指的是保单。But most of them usually cover numerous issues. 这里的 cover 也其实值得同学特别注意。这里的 cover 呢，其实就是承保。那多数的这些保单呢，它承保相当多关于电脑维修的问题哦。好，那接下来我们就继续往下看，其中呢包括 theft， 就是电脑遭窃。那这是多数人会遇到的问题，害怕遇到的问题。Most insurance policies will also cover repairs for accidental damage. 那多数的保单其实还有给付另外一个部分，承保另外一个部分，就是意外的损害所造成的维修费用。Most insurance policies also cover repairs for accidental damage. 那什么样算是不小心的损害呢？后面就有举例子了 ，spilling a drink on the laptop。包括说，你可能喂自己的笔电，喝牛奶啊，喝果汁，就这些液体不小心的洒在电脑上面。那接下来还有呢 ，fixing components that have failed。那有一些元件可能损坏了，那你要换掉也是。但是呢，有一些是不承保的哦。Policies seldom insure against situations like。那这里要请同学特别注意的，就是呢，包括什么？你如果安装了一些不好的程式 harmful programs， 指的就是像一些恶意的程式，是你自己下载安装的，就没有给付。或者 damage that is caused due to neglect or improper use， 或者呢，你根本就是疏忽或者不当使用，造成电脑损坏。好，那这样子的保固通常是多少金额呢？好，下面就讲了 ，Laptop insurance ranges from 400 NT to 800 NT per month， 这就是这里的价格。好，最后呢，文章的作者提醒大家 ，Consider the cost of the insurance policy relative to the amount you pay for the laptop to determine if the insurance plan is worth it。到底要不要再加购保固？消费者要自己想清楚。那要怎么样想清楚呢？重点就是思考保单的费用相较于笔记型电脑的价格。那你想想值不值得再去考虑要不要加购保固？好，以上就是我们针对多益课程第2天的讲解，谢谢大家。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, it's time now for our discussion questions. And the first question is, what is the most common problem people have with their laptops? Like I said, I don't have much experience with laptop computers, so maybe you are more qualified to answer this question, Stephanie.
I think we've talked about a lot of these. For me, running out of memory. I have two drives. I have a C drive and a D drive, and my C drive is really pretty much gone. So it's irritating when I have to keep taking things off C drive and move them to somewhere else. Or sometimes that's a reason why I'll go and buy a new one. Ruining your keyboard. I've done that a couple of times. Breaking or cracking your screen. And, of course, viruses. Tom, you mentioned one virus type that's horrible, and those are the Trojan viruses that sneak onto your computer. And some of them are really tough to kill. I have virus software that helps destroy and protect my computer. But it isn't always updating itself. Sometimes those new Trojan horses or other types of viruses get onto my computer, and then it's a mess.
So those are some problems some people may have. When I owned a very small laptop many years ago, the problem I had was the thing wore out pretty quickly because you're constantly opening and closing the screen. So the little hinges that connect the screen to the computer start to wear out, and eventually you can't close it anymore, or it won't open anymore. I don't know if that problem is common with more expensive computers, but that was a problem that I had. Let's move on now to the next question here. It says, which things do you feel must be included in a laptop insurance policy? Make a list.
Yeah, I definitely think that a keyboard breaking down or your screen breaking should be covered, whether it's your fault or just an accident, or maybe your computer just stops working. Hard drives are always covered. We typically can't damage a hard drive by ourselves unless some virus gets lucky and gets into the hard drive. But what about you, Tom? What would you consider mandatory, something they must include in order for you to consider buying this insurance?
Well, I could understand if they didn't want to cover me for this, but ransomware is the big one. I got hit by ransomware a few years ago. Fortunately, I had most of my stuff backed up on external hard drives that were not connected to the computer at the time, so they couldn't get those. I did lose some, like some music files and stuff like that, but those can be found pretty easily on the internet. So I did not pay the ransom. Sometimes, of course, if you get ransomware, they'll tell you, well, we'll fix this problem for you. We'll unlock all of your files if you pay us this amount of money.
Hey, how much did they want you to pay them?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I just remember that I'm not going to do this. Besides, I don't know how to use PayPal and stuff like that. Or I used to use PayPal, but I haven't for a very long time. But yeah, that's something I'd like to see the insurance cover. But like I said, I think that's something they probably would be unwilling to cover.
Yeah, I don't think they're covering that, guys, because some of these ransomware prices they're asking for, it's extortion, are just really outrageously expensive. We actually know a company here in Taiwan that just had this happen to their business, and their business is all about computers. So be careful. Thank goodness I've never had that happen, but yeah, that would be one I would like, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, back up your files and then disconnect those hard drives from the computer. That's the best advice we can give you with that. And that brings us to the end of our program. From all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.